I went ahead and fired up 3 bold predictions for LSU football in 2025. It's live on LouisianaSports.net right now. And in so doing, I kind of kick-started what's going to be a theme on the site here over the next couple of days. I've actually kicked this down to the entire ESPN staff for their thoughts in a station survey that's going to come up on the site probably this weekend at some point. Just want to get some takes, want to get some thoughts. Now, we know more about this LSU team today than we did on August 1st. It's been 2 weeks, and I would just say that, like, you've got a coaching staff here in Baton Rouge that is giving the local media phenomenal access, and we have been able to watch. I mean, I would guess I've watched 9 hours of LSU camp. I mean, I think that's probably fair to say. That's unprecedented in the Southeastern Conference. Like, I just don't think of it. I know a lot of people that cover teams in the Southeast. I don't know about folks getting 3 and 4 hours a week to dive in to practice and to see live 11-on-11s and scrimmage type reps and that type of deal. And we've gotten that. So I feel like we've got as good a handle on this team as we've really had in the last few years, really as far as any team that I've covered at LSU, which goes back to 2010, really. So I wanted to toss out 3 bold predictions. I use air quotes with bold. You can determine just how bold those predictions are. But I put them up on LouisianaSports.net, and I'll get into them right here. The first one is I'm looking at LSU's home schedule. And it's not like last year where you had a big non-conference game like UCLA at home. You've got Louisiana Tech. You've got Southeastern. You've got Western Kentucky. None of those are going to move the needle. LSU is going to be fine in those 3 games. But your home games in the league are interesting. Arkansas comes here. That's going to be, in my estimation, one of the worst teams in the league. I think LSU is going to win that game comfortably in Tiger Stadium. The other 3 home games are tricky. Florida's week 3. They're going to be 2-0. They finished down the stretch really strong last year. They've got a quarterback everybody thinks is going to be very good if he's healthy. Tough game. South Carolina and Texas A&M come here in October. That's going to be a tough set of circumstances. South Carolina has got a really good quarterback, and they've got one of the best pass rushers in college football, and they've got a lot of confidence. And we're going to talk to Chris Marlar in 25 minutes about him, but that's a team that thinks they're pretty good. And then you've got a Texas A&M team that returns a quarterback that torched you last year, and 4 offensive linemen, and 2 really talented running backs, and all of the secondary. And it's year 2 under a really good coach, and I think that's a tough matchup. But my bold prediction is LSU goes undefeated at home. And here's why I think that's a bold projection. Because oftentimes LSU drops a home game. Certainly lost a home game last year to Alabama. Tennessee came in here in Brian Kelly's first year and just housed LSU. But you have won all your home games at times. You won all your home games in 2023 with Jaden Daniels. You won all your home games in 2019, obviously, when you went unbeaten. But I remember last year at this time thinking about LSU, and I'm going, okay, Jaden Daniels is gone, won the Heisman, 2nd pick in the draft. Okay, Brian Thomas is gone. Malik Neighbors is gone. Like, you've lost your firepower offensively. And you were returning the worst defense you have ever had, so you fired the entire staff and brought in a new one. Like, that's a lot of uncertainty. And I remember looking at the schedule going, okay, Ole Miss comes here, and they're supposed to be really good. And Bama comes here, and they're supposed to be really good. And Oklahoma comes here, and they're supposed to be good. They got 5-star Jackson Arnold at quarterback, and Brent Venables' defense finally going to be intact, and first year in the SEC, and like they'll be good, and like that'll be a big game. Like I know LSU's got their questions, but they'll win some games at home. They're not going to lose all 3 of those games at home. And that might sound ridiculous to you today. And maybe it sounded ridiculous to you then, but I had reasons to suggest why those would be very difficult games for LSU to win. Everybody was toasting Ole Miss at this point last year. Everybody. And Bama's Bama. You know how that game went. And then, Oklahoma, that's not a gimme. We didn't know they were going to fall flat on their face. So I trusted the stadium then, even with a lot of questions with the team. And with less questions on this team, I trust that stadium again. And I think LSU is going to win all of those games. It would not be unreasonable for me to pick LSU to beat South Carolina. It would not be unreasonable for me to pick LSU to beat A&M. It would not be unreasonable for me to pick LSU to beat Florida. I think winning all 3 of those games is a rather bold statement. And if you're one of these LSU fans who in the middle of August is going, this is the best team in the country, we're going undefeated, what are you even talking about? Well, I'm not here to back you off that ledge, but I'm just saying that I have some doubts about this team, and I don't doubt that stadium. And I think they're going to win all of their home games this season. So that's bold prediction number 1. Number 2, you have heard me preach this now for 3 weeks, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I think Chris Hilton's the best wide receiver on this team. I think he's going to be the most productive wide receiver on this team. I think he's going over 1,000 yards. LSU did not have a 1,000-yard receiver last year, and that's with a quarterback that threw for 4,000 yards. You did not have a 1,000-yard receiver. I think Chris Hilton goes over 1,000 this year. Here's why. The fastest way to get to 1,000 is chunk plays, right? 50, 60-yard touchdown catches. He's going to do that. We know that. He's done that in every game he's been healthy in just about for his entire career. He's never been healthy. But what you haven't seen, what you have not seen, the LSU fan who has not been at practice, is how good he is at the other stuff. He is a good route runner. He does have good hands. They're going to throw him now screens. They're going to get him the ball in the middle of the field. They're going to get him the ball in the short game. And he's going to be able to make plays doing that as well. I think Chris Hilton is primed for a monster year, and I think he's going over 1,000 yards this year. That is my bold prediction. Now, this is a receiving core that's got Aaron Anderson and Nick Anderson and Barry Brown and Kyle Parker, and you can go down the list, Xavier Thomas, Jelani Watkins, however far you want to go. They got a lot of dudes, and they're going to spread the ball around. I don't think Chris Hilton and Aaron Anderson are going to come off the field a ton, and I think Chris Hilton goes over 1,000 yards. That's bold prediction number 2. Number 3, this is a lofty number. Lofty number. I think LSU goes over 45 sacks this year. For reference, last year you had 34. Braden Swinson had a career year. You got some help from Greg Penn and Whit Weeks at the linebacker spot. Savion Jones was a third-round pick. Not a big sack guy, but was one of your better edge rushers. You used some blitzes, and Blake Baker's defense is aggressive by nature, and you got home for some sacks. And 34 sacks was 7th in the SEC, right in the middle of the SEC. I think LSU does significantly better than that. I think Patrick Payton adds a lot in the pass rush game. I think Jack Pyburn, after only having 1 sack in his whole career at Florida, is going to be an improved pass rusher this year. I think Jamari Butler and Gabe Relaford are potential dudes off the edge. Absolutely, a healthy Harold Perkins makes you a better pass rush team. They're going to still send Whitweek on pressures. He's very good at rushing the passer. Blake Baker wants to dial up pressure. And to put all that together, you also have a defensive coordinator that wants to go create pressure, and I think they're going to be ahead in a lot of games. And when you've got those two things, sacks come. LSU was awesome rushing the passer early in the season last year. 5 sacks at South Carolina, 6 sacks against Ole Miss. And that kind of tapered off late in the season. That's got to be a big part of what they do. Bernard Gooden's a guy I haven't mentioned yet. He can create some rush from the inside. Dominic McKinley had 2 sacks against Oklahoma last year. He can create pressure from the inside. I think that these guys are going to be a terrorizing group on offensive lines, especially if LSU can get a lead. So to me, the 45 sacks would have been 3rd in the SEC last year. Ole Miss topped 50. Texas had a good pass rush. I think LSU goes over 45 sacks this year and is a really, really good pass rushing team that's in the top 2 or 3 in the SEC. So my bold predictions, I got LSU going unbeaten at home. That means Florida, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Arkansas, plus Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky, Southeastern. I've got Chris Hilton over 1,000 yards, and I've got LSU 45 sacks. Taylor, you're listening. Which of those is the boldest prediction on my part?
The boldest, I agree with you on 2 out of 3. Boldest for me is going to be the Chris Hilton 1,000 yards. Like, I definitely understand why you got there. I just think there's a lot of mouths to feed on the offense.
Lots of mouths to feed. How do we feel about the pass rush?
I'm with you. I think the pass rush is going to be great. I mean, I think out of all the positions in the portal, you probably did the best job at defensive end. I mean, you brought in 3 studs to pair with Gabriel Relaford, who a lot of people already like. I mean, I think there's versatility there.
And what's the toughest home game that LSU will have to navigate to win all of their home games?
The toughest home game. I'm going to say South Carolina. That's the one I'll go with. I think they're just a little bit better top to bottom than Florida. Now, Florida will be tough because it's the first big-time home game early in the season, but I'm going South Carolina.
It's South Carolina is fascinating to me because it's not a program that I'm ready to just give the benefit of the doubt of, okay, you lost 5 guys off the front 7, you'll just restock the shelves. Okay, you did a really good job of playing late down the stretch. You beat Clemson, beat the brakes off A&M. Like, oh, you'll just do that again. Like, I don't trust them to that level yet, but they got talent. Lagway's, Sellers is a tough dude to deal with, and anytime you've got an edge rusher as quality as they do, it changes the way you call offense. So, hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.